welcome to Boston, and I'm going to jump right in. I've got a lot to cover here. So we're going to go over the future of the machine, and I'm going to share with you, you'll hear some predictions, you'll hear some customer stories. In fact, I'll have a couple of people join me on stage to give you some great real-world examples. So, but to get a glimpse into the future, I think we should probably start by taking a look at kind of where we came from with machines, right? Looking back at, 50 years ago, early machines, I call them dumb physical machines, right? Think generators, factory machinery, very self-contained, very little software, right? And then we started to see machines go more digital, right? All of a sudden, software was a big component of machinery, right? All of a sudden, recalls. There's a vehicle manufacturer, I won't mention names, right, who had a problem with their ABS brakes, and that was just as much about firmware and software, recalling that. Imagine if that was connected and they could have fixed it remotely and not having to bring them all into the mechanic shop. But so over time, more and more things went digital, and then we started to see connectivity. A lot of it was intended for local connectivity, local internet inside the firewall. Early days of M2M started to emerge. I was talking to GE Healthcare's in the house, I think, and they spoke of one of their first projects in the mid-'80s around modems being connected to their medical equipment in hospitals, right? The big, expensive stuff that had to be up was connected, almost 30 years ago. And where are we today? Intelligent machines, right? It's why all of you are here, right, today. You've connected most of you have connected your machines and looking to manage those, innovate on top of those. So what's next, right? That's the topic of my discussion this morning. And I'm going to take you through 9 key attributes at Axeda that we've defined here and identified that machines will have. So we'll go around this wheel. The first one, I'm going to give a clue here. First one starts with C. Anyone want to guess what the first one is? Connected. I heard a couple of people. Yeah, it's why we're all here. Like I said, everything, but we all know this, right? Everything is going to be, well, we're calling it cloud-enabled. Hence our new name for our offering, our cloud-based offering is the Machine Cloud, the Axeda Machine Cloud. And we have an Axeda-ready program. We're getting devices in weekly. We're up to over 22, I think, devices that are Axeda ready. What that means, our agent's running on it. You power it up, point it to our cloud, it's plug and play, right? That's where we're going, right? Things will connect, whether it's cellular, internet, Wi-Fi, satellite, short haul, we Bluetooth, Zigbee in, right? The driving forces are just the economics. It's now affordable. Between the form factors, the devices, the data plans, everything's come down where it makes sense to connect. Okay, next attribute, not so much in the future because most of you are already doing this, but machines will continue to be serviceable. And when I mean serviceable here, I'm really talking about remotely serviceable, right? And why is this possible? Mostly because what I just mentioned previously was software is a big component of most machines now. And you can do a lot remotely. You can upgrade them, patch them, reset them, configure them, et cetera. You can take a lot of costs out of your corporation by automating a lot of the field service, call center interactions, et cetera, by making them remotely serviceable. Okay, so moving on, the third attribute, trackable, right? Everything's going to be trackable. It's so inexpensive now to put a GPS device, but now you can use things like Wi-Fi triangulation, cellular triangulation. We also have the ability to use sensors, et cetera. The driving forces there are pretty simple. Companies need to track their assets, right? They can improve their supply chain if they know where things are in their supply chain. They can automate the sending out of people, if they can optimize their trips based on where they need to be, based on tracking tanks and things like that. So I think everything is going to be trackable, right? In fact, we even have a demo here of a people tracker. So if you see these funky-looking devices in some of the rooms from one of our Axeda-ready partners, Labellium, they are actually tracking what your phone is sending out. So we know, where the density of people is based on these your phone's kind of checking in. These things you don't know kind of broadcast a generic Wi-Fi and Bluetooth message, so we can kind of detect that and detect where everyone is. If you register in the demo booth, we'll actually can associate your phone with a person, and then you can actually track your friends or the people you came with or other people who are here down to what room they're in, to that specific. So interesting technology that we set up just to show you. But I mean, everything's going to be trackable. Pets, people, keys, your spouse's keys, even the remote control probably for your TV, because I think this phone is probably going to turn into the remote control for your TV. This phone will probably turn into a remote control for a lot of machines. That's one of the big trends we're seeing. We're investing in this area big time. We think it's core to all the machine makers who want to track their equipment, their assets, but it's also core to some of the other markets that we're in, including asset tracking. Okay, we're working our way. Number 4, informative. This is about the data, the machine data. And this is about getting intelligence about what the machines are doing, whether it's uptime, what features are used, and what are the driving forces there. I think the interest that's driving this is a lot of it's coming from engineering, product management, right? They want to understand and design better products. They want to understand the quality of their products. They want to improve uptime for the products that are out there. So they can start to use things like pattern recognition, statistical trends, to start attributing readings and things coming off the machine with potential failures. In fact, that's a good transition. Rather than me tell you about a hypothetical situation here, I'd like to introduce Audi Lucas, Program Manager for GE Power, and John Krupe, CTO from Jackby, to tell us a little bit about what they're doing around some of these attributes. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Wow, those are bright lights there.
Yeah, it's very bright.
So at General Electric, I work for the Jenbacher division. So we make gas reciprocating engines, and these things, they can be relatively small, so they could fit here on the stage. And some of our engines are so large that we could fit maybe one in this room. So really large gas-powered engines. But we have a pretty diverse base of customers. So our customers are anywhere from biofarmers who take crops or waste material, ferment that, producing methane gas, and then burn that through our engine and produce electricity and sell that back to the grid. We also have greenhouses, very popular in the Netherlands, that use our engines for both the power generation to run the lights, but the heat to heat the greenhouse, and then also the CO2 excess to fertilize the plants. And then we have industrial applications, so in factories, to run factories if you have problems with sustainable power. Coal mines, we take the gas from a coal mine and burn that, or landfills, collecting that gas. So when I joined Jenbacher, trying to figure out my market segment was pretty difficult because it's pretty broad, and the use cases for what these different customers have for using data and understanding how their engines are running and so forth are very diverse. So that has been a challenge. So we started with Axeda back in 2011, and I think there are 3 things that I would consider that we did very successfully. So the first thing is the number of assets we've gotten connected. So right now, we've got about 32% of our install base connected. Now, that's 32% of engines that have been sold back into 2000. And our install base is also unique, that half of those engines are sold through partners. So really, we do direct service only on a potential 50% of our install base, so 5,000 engines, essentially. And we've achieved nearly a 75% connectivity rate for those engines that we have under service contracts. So looking at other companies, as I go around to different conferences around the world, that I think is very, very unique, especially in such a short time frame. And using the Axeda platform, I think, was the only way to achieve such a high connectivity rate in a short amount of time. The other thing, I think, that was really key to our success is actually using a lot of that data and running analytics. We'll talk on that in a second. And then lastly, the integration. So we're collecting this data from all of our engines. Now, what do we do with it, right? And integrating that into our other business processes and how we do that, I think is unique. And we use a layer on top of our Axeda platform to handle that integration and also to generate our UI. We chose a mashup technology at the same time we chose Axeda to build our architecture. And that mashup technology comes from Jackby. And I've got John Krupe, who's the CTO here, and he can talk a little bit about Jackby on that.
Great, thank you. So part of our platform, we realized that Axeda customers and M10 customers, what they want to do is they want to take this information real time, and they want to be able to interact with that information, but also they want to connect it to their internal enterprise systems. And so our platform is a real-time intelligence platform, and we've noticed a few trends that are happening. Not only do customers want to be able to connect into different platforms, but they want self-service, and they want business analysts and operators to be able to take the information, mash it together, and create visualizations and dashboards. So everything we do is really taking the latest technology. Some of the things that we're showing and doing today, we couldn't even do 3 years ago because technology's changed so much. So we connect right into the live systems, pull data directly from Axeda, connect into your ERP, your CRM systems, Salesforce, any type of system you have, and allow you to build iterative style dashboards. And this is just an example of monitoring turbines around the world, but also showing different personas where you can interact with the data and you can look at the state or the health from a global perspective, but then you can start drilling down and looking at individual components and then start even looking at trouble tickets that may be assigned. Well, as part of this, we've noticed is that there's no real one single type of persona. CIOs now go around with iPads and they want to know why they're getting a call from their customer, and they could go right to their iPad and see what's happening with their engines or their machines. And so everybody wants to see the information and they want to see it live as it's happening. Nobody wants to hear or get a report that's a day old if something has gone down. So being able to see the data happening live and to interact with it and to drill down and connect it to the various systems to see the impact that it has on the customers is very key. It could be at the CIO level or it could be down to the operator level. But part of this is about the maintenance too. How do I know when my equipment has been repaired? How do I actually get more predictive analytics into this so that I don't have unscheduled maintenance, which is very costly? How do I go and I look at the trends? So I'm not only looking at the real-time data as it's happening, I'm looking at what are these systems doing over the last 3 hours, 3 weeks, 3 months. And that's the real key here, is that it's just starting to move into big data and real-time analytics where it's no longer just good enough to see what's happening right now. You have to look at the patterns and what has happened over the last 3 months or 3 hours. To be able to do this very quickly is really what customers are demanding. So these are the latest technologies that are out that are doing in-memory type analytics, being able to pull data live as it's happening, and to be able to look from all different levels of your organization. It also allows you to bring in new data sources and new streams of information. So this is something from Hint FM. This is actually taking a whole bunch of real-time wind forecasting. And if you come to our booth, you'll see that this is actually a moving visualization that's live. You could see the wind in changing in prediction over a 3-hour period and forecast, and start looking at as wind as a source of information. So being able to bring wind in, being able to bring in network performance, being able to get all sorts of information in to drive the predictions or drive the analytics is really what we're hearing now. So the latest visualizations with HTML5 is allowing us to do this in memory technology, and being on premise and connecting into the cloud helps us do this. So we're at a booth out there. You can come and see us and we'll give a demo. But this is definitely an exciting time for us, and we're excited to be a partner.
Thanks, John.